Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Not too different, honestly. Actually, not that different at all. What is this intro? But this past week, I journeyed over to my local thrift store and this little birdhouse caught my eye. Suddenly, I was filled with so many ideas and I saw so much potential. Also, it was weird because it was like in the Christmas section. That's probably why I noticed it in the first place. And today, I'll be giving it a makeover. So this birdhouse was obviously hand-painted by some person, possibly a young child, possibly an adult with slightly poor coordination. It is a little bit plain, but I don't hate it. I do have my own ideas for this though, so I'm going to me-ify it. Ew, no. Let me not say that. I'm going to change it into more of my style. I did notice some kind of frizzle-frazzle in there that I wanted to get rid of, so I'm taking some sandpaper and cleaning that up a little bit. Quite the delightful noise. I'm gonna use some acrylic paint, and this is just a mix of cheap brands of acrylic paint that I've had laying around for years. I'm gonna start by mixing a nice light pink color, and wow, the chunkiness of this paint, it's truly disturbing. The first step is painting the main body of this birdhouse. I painted 2 birdhouses back in high school because, you know, I was that kind of kid, and apparently still am. I always thought birdhouses were really cute and have a lot of decorating potential. I never actually let the birds use them, you know, like outside, partly because I don't have a yard and partly because I don't want no birds pooping all over my paint job. They sit around inside as decoration or whatever. It's still cute. Of course, I can't forget about the little chimney thing, now featuring my cat's rear end. I think he was trying to sunbathe under my studio lights. He does that a lot. Now I'm mixing up a kind of cone, cake, waffle type of color. Yeah, tan. Oh my gosh, seriously, I need new paint. But did I throw it out after this? No, I didn't. So my idea is to make this into a dessert-themed birdhouse. If you know my channel, you're probably not shocked by this because I'm kind of obsessed with desserts. Sometimes I Google my ideas as a way to gauge how weird they are, and I could not find anything like this at all. So I'm thinking this is a pretty strange idea. I'm using a Prismacolor pencil to add some texture to the pink. I was kind of going for like a cake kind of texture. It's pretty subtle, nothing too crazy. That solid pink just wasn't doing anything for me. I also went on the corners and shaded them a little bit for a baked look. I don't know. Okay, now this is far from being finished, but I'm gonna switch gears a little to work on some of the accessories. I'm breaking out some red polymer clay, and I'm just mixing up a nice medium red by massaging these two together. I always do that. Now I'm gonna form that clay into a ball and that ball into a cherry because of course every good dessert themed birdhouse comes with a cherry on top. What, you didn't know that? For the stem, I'm using this red paper clip. I'm sure you can buy better wire that doesn't have kinks all in it, but I had this laying around, so why not use it? These are scary. They look like they belong in a crime scene, but I'm using them to cut down the paper clip. Clearly, I do not use tools very often. There we go. Stick that little cherry and it's so cute. But before I get ahead of myself, I'm gonna remove the stem so that I can bake this little dude. Oh, that was dumb. And I just followed the baking instructions on the clay package, but whoops, when it came out, it had some pretty significant cracks in it, but I'll deal with that later. For now, I'm gonna move on to the whipped cream. I'm using some air dry clay. Why is that so satisfying? To do that, I'm rolling out a tapered snake. Does this look familiar? Because I used a very similar technique in my unicorn craft video. Sorry, just a quick shout out to my past self. Speaking of the past, suddenly we've gone back in time before the roof was painted and all of that. Ugh, try not to be distracted by that. I know it's hard. I know. So I'm fitting the clay around the top to act as whipped cream and scooching the little cherry in there as well. You see what I'm going for here? Yeah, but I actually have to take this off because the clay has to air dry for 72 hours. That's right, it needs a whole 3 days to get its life together. So while we're waiting, let's handle the crack situation with our cherry friend. And now the cherry cherry has a butt crack. Perfect. What's up with me and cherry cracks? So I used some fabric paint to paint over the cracks to fill them. I'll admit I'm a total polymer clay noob. I don't use it a lot other than to make fake sprinkles, which you don't need skills for. So I don't really know exactly what I'm doing here, but it's fine. The important thing is it's fixed now. And the time has come for the cherry and the stem to reunite. Oh, why am I so obsessed with this cherry? Yeah, let's get back to painting the house. I'm gonna use some white fabric paint for some drippy icing on the house. I really thought about turning one of the holes into a donut, but since there are two of them for some strange reason, it was just a little too crammed in that area. I don't think I would have had enough room for that to look right, but I was really into that idea for a solid 5 minutes. Now, I could have just used acrylic paint to do this as well, but I went with fabric paint instead because I wanted it to be a little bit more 3D, a little shinier, and just look more similar to icing. Now I gotta do something about this roof. So I'm drawing on lines with a ruler, which somehow they ended up looking crooked and wobbly anyway. I don't know, but I'm completely incapable of drawing a straight line. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint on some wiggly lines. These things add character, okay? And I'm going for like a waffle type of texture, like a waffle ice cream cone, maybe something like that. And here I decided to add some of the dripping icing onto the chimney as well. Is that a chimney though, or is it like a steeple? I don't know what the proper word is, but you know what I'm saying. As I've worked on this, the front has gotten a little crusty, so I need to add a fresh coat of paint on top to neaten everything up. And while that paint is still wet, I'm gonna throw on some of my homemade clay sprinkles. I do have a tutorial for these in the iCards if you want to know how to make them. Whew, the self-promotion today, laying it on thick. And of course, the back of the house gets the same treatment. We got a design in 360, guys. Yes, it greatly bothers me that these two sprinkles are touching. That was a mistake, but I'm choosing to let it go. Now, the front, I'd say, it's getting there, but the sides are just so daggone boring. So let's take this over the top, shall we? I'm gonna use some brown puffy paint on the roof to make it look like a dipped chocolate cone, make it look a little bit more interesting from the side, and also maybe convince you of the waffle cone thing more because I don't know how obvious this cone texture really is. And now finally, I'm getting to some of the finishing details like the base of the house, which I'm painting a dark pink to match with the dark pink cake texture. And hey, time flies. It's been 3 days. So let's finish this up now. I'm painting it with a white fabric paint because I want to make it look more like one continuous whipped cream blob. Also, I want it to match better with the white frosting on the house. And we're bringing out the sprinkles again. Yay! But this is where my camera died. Killjoy. Here are the dried finished pieces. So I'm gonna glue them together with some E6000 glue, settle in, seal in that little cherry, sneak a few extra sprinkles in there. Oop, that one got away. And here's where it all comes together. Apply glue, secure that on, remove a cat hair, and that looks pretty good. I am gonna sign the bottom with my initials because I'm gonna try to get in the habit of doing that more with my work because that is just something you should do, I think. Final step, I'm gonna coat the acrylic paint with some matte Mod Podge to protect it from chaos and destruction. And on the fabric painted areas, I'm gonna use a glossy varnish because I wanted there to be a different finish on them. And voila, here's the finished piece. I'm not exactly sure what kind of dessert it's supposed to be. Is it a cake? Is it a cupcake? Is it an ice cream cone? I don't know. Good news, it doesn't need to make sense. It took several days of working on it to complete, but I'd say it was worth my time. Maybe it's not your taste. But I love this so much more now. It's just the way I like it. Now, am I gonna put this outside? No, probably not. I mean, I don't think this would last very long in the rain and dirt and wind or whatever happens outside. I don't know. I don't go out there. My intention isn't to make an actual functional birdhouse. I just wanted something cute to have around to look at. So yeah, let me know if you guys like it and you want to see me go and find more stuff in thrift stores that could use some help. I will not see you on Monday. I'm not posting this Monday. My upload schedule went from some Mondays to most Mondays to now basically I post every Monday, but I'm gonna take this Monday off because I've been late in posting my videos for like the past 5 videos. So I need to take at least one Monday off to get back on track. So yeah, I will see you guys next Friday. Bye!